Hey, paisans, the time has come. On the air since 2009, the independently produced, non-FCC compliant champ of video game talk podcasting. Here comes Tiger Claw Radio. Here's your host, Critical Failure.
Welcome everyone to Tiger Claw Radio. This is your host, Critical Failure. This week, this is the final week in July. It's the Farewell July show. This past month, the game of the month has been the original Final Fantasy. Pick your poison, many ways to play it. Over on the Cartridge Club, they have been playing Super Mario Galaxy for the month of July. Didn't play Super Mario Galaxy here, but that was a thing if you wanted to be a part of it. So, we got that. We got a bunch of other stuff coming up. Let's kick things off with some chip tunes. As always, you're listening to Tiger Claw Radio. Oh yeah, that's from the Japanese chiptune compilation that we've been listening to for the past week or so. It's available over at Bandcamp for free, so you can pick yourself up a copy. So this past month, Final Fantasy, that was the thing. This is not my final summarization, but I did want to play for you a bit that I recorded after a long session. This was probably from like 2 weeks ago. All right, let's go there now. Here's a bit to wrap up the game of the month. For July has been the original Final Fantasy, which it took me a while to get started for a couple of reasons. Primarily because I know that RPGs in general do not lend themselves to quick game sessions. But as it turns out, the original Final Fantasy, at least when you play it on the NES, this is true like tenfold. A couple of things that I noticed like in my first session. First of all, it drops you in with no introduction or story, which, by the way, is great. I thoroughly appreciated that. The story is minimal. It's just like, hey, we're looking for the light heroes. You don't happen to be them, do you? Or the light warriors or something ridiculous like that. Great. I don't need a big cutscene. We need light warriors. That's you guys. Great. The princess is missing. Go find her. Got it. I know what to do. there's a weird sound every time you talk to somebody. There's like they decided to put a sound bite in for when the dialogue window comes and goes, which is a weird choice. Again, I mean, I guess you have to realize that when this game came out, a lot of the norms of the RPGs or JRPGs, as they came to be called later, a lot of those norms had not been set into place yet. So that becomes painfully apparent. But the biggest problem I've noticed is in combat, right? So I have a party of 4 people. I chose the fighter, the black belt, the white mage, and the black mage, which is my normal layout. And as you start fighting, you can't have all 4 people target the same person, because what happens is 4 people target the same monster. Well, the first guy, will kill that monster, and the other 3 people do not shift their focus to other monsters. Okay? If you're fighting like a hugely intense battle, then maybe it's not such a big deal because all 4 people will hit and not kill. But when you're clearing people out in the beginning of the game and you're grinding levels, it's a bit of a pain. But not just that. I mean, on top of that, just the overall flow of the encounters, they take time, and there's no real way to push through it, to grind levels. So leveling up, is way more of a task. Again, I'm playing the NES version. The original Final Fantasy, I mean, there's many different iterations you could play it on, and I bet they fixed that in some of the later ones. Correct me if I'm wrong. There's a Final Fantasy 1 and 2 like combo cart, I'm pretty sure, for the Game Boy Advance, right? I'm pretty sure they fixed it. I have no idea if they did or not. I'd like to think they fixed some of these problems in that version of the game, unless they're intentional. Whoop, what do we got? Yeah, we're good. But okay, so that's a lot of negative things really quick, and it's things that I think it's normal again when you go back in time and you play a game before a lot of quality of life things were made standard, then of course this is going to happen. But some of the positive things were, the last time I really tried to play through this game, I only made it as far as the bridge, the very beginning. You rescue the princess, whatever, and then you cross the bridge to move to the next area, and the second you touch that bridge, it does the close-up, and you get the Final Fantasy introduction. That's as far as I made it the first time. And so far, that's as far as I made it this time as well. But I got to that point very quickly. I was shocked how quick I got there. It only took me maybe 30 minutes or so. For some reason, I remember that taking a very long time last time I played through the game. Maybe I just haven't played very much of this game. I don't know. Oh, here we go. Right. So about that bridge scene, when you hit that bridge scene, that's an awesome moment. It really is. The image of the heroes or whatever, the close-up and stuff like that, you don't see too many of those in the NES. I mean, I can think of a couple examples of really awesome like close-up cutscene images on adventure games, but only a couple. The greatest example is the ending of Star Tropics. If you've never seen the ending of Star Tropics, look it up on YouTube if you're not going to play it yourself. That's one of the best endings on an NES game, period, in my opinion. But yeah, really cool moment, and I was really glad that I was able to get back to that bridge and experience it again. So I'm not ready to hang it up yet at this point for the game of the month. I'm going to do another recording after I play it a bit more. But this was worth it to pick so that I could experience that one more time. All right, that's my game of the month log for now. I'm going to shoot you back to the studio. Back in the studio, I was just clicking around to see what was going on in the world of gaming right now. And I have a handful of sites that I check out to see what's happening, but I decided to go back to good old-fashioned Retroware TV. That was the site I really got my start at 10 years ago, 12 years ago, however long it's been, golly. And they're still around, but I just realized they're not Retroware TV anymore. Now it's retroware.com. Like, Retroware TV will still take you there, and the logo's still the same, Sans TV. But now they're more article based. They still have, some video content, but like when I first saw this, I was kind of disappointed because it's like, no, good old retroware TV isn't the same anymore. But I'm looking at it now, and it's like, this is much more like up to date. I think more the way these types of sites are handled now. So now that I've like clicked around and looked at some of the like articles and stuff, I'm actually really happy that they did this because it looks good. So my hat is off to the site formerly known as Retroware TV. I'm wishing you guys all the best. Let's see what they have for content. And it's the same old kind of stuff. It's like reviews of games that have been around for a while as if they were new. Fuse Falls, Understanding Mighty Number 9. Mighty Number 9 is a complicated game. Fusefall takes a look at it and tries to break down what makes it tick and why. I don't think it was complicated. I think it was very simple. It was just not good. But that's me. I'm a bit of a cynic. Orcs Must Die 3 is available for PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. That's pretty cool. Somebody was recently telling me, was this Swingle? Was recently telling me Orcs Must Die was a good game that I should play. And I have the original that's been in my Steam library forever. And I haven't played it. And then finally, on 3 tech announcements you need to know about. And you pop it open, and of course one of them is the Steam Deck, which we talked about last week. And that thing is a great big question mark for me. And then the X screen for the Xbox Series X, essentially just like a snap-on, I guess. I'm not going to take the time to read it because I'm not an Xbox guy, but it looks like a screen that you would attach to the Xbox. And thus making it something more along the lines of the old slim model PS1. Do you remember the PlayStation 1? Not the original PlayStation, but when they re-released it with a little portable screen on it? It looks like the Xbox version of that. I really enjoyed that little PlayStation, by the way. At the time, I was working for a painting company that focused on refurbishing hotels. And the guy I worked for told me, hey, look, I want you to be prepared in case we get a job like that's in a hotel that's like far from home. Be prepared to like spend the night or two, in a hotel working while we refurbish it. Sometimes they give us free rooms and, it's good work. I said, great. Okay. I had a camera bag for like an old school 8mm camcorder. And I purchased one of those I purchased one of those PS1s with a little screen, stuck it in the leather camera bag, and it fit 2 controllers and a couple of games, and I was like, yeah, man, I'm good to go. Hotel's going to have everything I need. I was pretty poor at the time, so I didn't have like a lot of stuff to take with me. I was working for a painting and wallpapering company, mostly doing prep work, so it's not like I had a uniform or something. I would just like sand walls all day, pull down old wallpaper and things like that. Sometimes put up primer. I really miss that old PlayStation 1. I had a lot of fun with that thing. The day I got it, and this is not what they were for, but the day I got it, I just lied down in my bed and I put that thing right on my chest and I played through like the first 5 hours of the original Tomb Raider. Probably not the best way to use one of those machines, but I look back on that as a positive memory. That, and then I wouldn't call this the one, but this is one of the dearest video game memories to my heart, was my buddy Ben. Ben, if you're out there, I hope you're doing well, brother. Came over to where I was staying at the time, and we set up a couple of lawn chairs. This was in the summer, and we put that little PlayStation on a cooler, and we were playing, what was it, Ben? Do you remember? I look back and remember it being Quake 2, like one of the Quake games. I think Quake 2 on the PlayStation, which was like a weird port. But I remember us playing like strange multiplayer games on the PlayStation, like on the driveway, on a gravel driveway, in the middle of summer. And the house I was staying at was right next to like a very busy road. Like, how do I explain this without doxing myself? I'm not talking about a road where people drive by like once every 5 or 10 minutes. I'm talking about a 3-lane highway. Wasn't technically a highway because there were traffic lights, but very, very busy, constant flow of traffic. And this was a house that was like bumped right up against it. So you could hear the cars going back and forth. And then the summer evening air as we sat in lawn chairs and played PlayStation and wished I had the money to get Coca-Colas because that's what I was drinking at the time. That's what I think of when I think of the old PlayStation. So I look at this Xbox X screen for the Series X thing, and I'm going to be honest, it looks dopey, but it opens the door for that sort of thing. And when I look at the market now, like, I'm not big into Nintendo these days. I don't really like Nintendo as a company. I think their games are great, but like the Switch, I think, it's kind of hard for me to say this, but the Switch, I think, has positioned themselves to be that system right now because it's, essentially just a portable. So, yeah, I like the idea of these portable systems that can be shared with people. And I know this has become like a thing that I say every week at this point, but that is the one thing that the Anbernic / emulation handheld, that's missing from being like the world's perfect system, is the ability to multiplayer or share it in some way. So yeah, Xbox. Oh, and right, and there was a reason why I opened this article. And the Game Boy operator, GB operator. Now, I've seen this thing on another website, but it's essentially a dock that you connect to your computer with a Game Boy slot on it, almost like a Dex drive, if you remember the Dex drive. But you put in your physical Game Boy game, and it will play it on your computer. Pretty simple. But you can also grab saves off of your old games that way. Supposedly, you can buy blank games and then flash them with Game Boy ROMs. And when I first saw this, I thought of it as an opportunity to play Pokemon games with my daughter, because she plays Pokemon Sapphire, but she plays it on an emulator, so there's no real way to switch, to trade and battle. Not that I know of, anyway. And this seemed like a good workaround for that. We could put she could play on a Game Boy and then or play on my computer with a big screen and a controller, and then she could play the same save on a portable system. This seemed like a good solution, but I went to check it out and they are sold out, which it sucks because I wanted one and now I can't buy one. But it's really awesome that they were successful in their venture. That makes me really, really happy. This is only $50, $50 plus shipping, so not a super expensive piece of gear. Yeah, that's the GB operator. Play and manage Game Boy cartridges on your computer. Never lose a precious save again. Find your inner photographer. Transfer those 16 kp, that's right, kilopixels, from your Game Boy camera to your PC in just a few clicks. That's really cool. I have a Game Boy camera that I've had for years. Matter of fact, I think Hemrock sent it to me, just, in a bro moment. And I took pictures of my oldest son when he was 1 year old on this thing, and those are treasured pictures. Because now he's 11. This is a big kid now. He's not a baby. He's a big guy. He's past that age where kids reach an age, when they're really little, you're the guru and you can teach them everything and they just love to hear it. But then eventually, seemingly overnight, it doesn't happen overnight, but it seems like overnight, suddenly they're smarter than you. And that's what should happen. I mean, that's the natural order of life. But that's happened with my oldest, old CF Jr. He's a brilliant kid. And these pictures were from when he was still tiny and adorable and not as good at me as in math, because those days are long gone. Yeah, I would love to have a GB operator at some point, exploring the mess of the Game Boy architecture in much more of an open platform than it's ever been before. develop homebrew and play it with original hardware. Because remember, the GB Studio, you can develop Game Boy games, with completely drag and drop, point and click, no coding, and that's free. And finally, counterfeit cartridge detection. We know you take pride in your game collection, but as counterfeits are getting better and better, the risk of buying a fake cartridge without even knowing it is increasing. GB Operator can detect most bootleg cartridges, so that you can rest easy knowing your cartridges are original. Does that mean it won't play them? It doesn't say it won't play them, it just says it'll detect them. Because, I bought a bootleg Pokemon, what was it? Silver, recently. I never actually played the Silver and Gold versions of Pokemon. I bought a copy of Pokemon Silver and was messing with it, and, would I be able to play that on this thing? That'd be interesting to know. That's funny, I showed it to my daughter, and she tried it for a little while. She's like, this is not as good as Sapphire, but I'll play it. And then she put about 15 minutes into it, and this was on, what was she using? She was using a Game Boy Advance SP, where the cartridge is too big if you're using one of the old Game Boy games that sticks out the bottom. And she played it like that for, 10, 15 minutes, and then it froze on her. I don't think it was the game being a bootleg, because I think games just do that on that old machine. And she didn't save, so that was lost. And she was like, "Okay, Dad, I'm gonna go back to the other one now." And that was the end of that. So those are articles I picked up off of good old Retroware. So God bless those guys, man. It's awesome to see them still around. Their podcast section is still there. They've got Completely Unnecessary Podcast with I can't think of the guy's name now. Retro RGB, the Trillcast, Worth It or Worthless, Grown Women Gaming, Retro Game Guys. That's a lot of podcasts. I approached them in probably 2011 or 2012 to try and get them to pick up Tiger Claw Radio. And they didn't. Not because of any problems with the podcast, but at the time, Ito Bandito was talking about doing his own program, and he was like, I kind of want that to be the center stage. So I came pretty close, but I also noticed the Ben and Derek Random Show is gone from their podcast section, which to me kind of hurts, because even though that wasn't a great podcast, that came out when, at the time, Derek Alexander was absolutely my hero. I adored that guy. He wasn't the reason I started a podcast, because my podcast, believe it or not, started a couple days before him. But that was when I was super yeah, this guy's the man. He's doing the best stuff out there. And they only ran that for a couple years. They did a month they did an episode every 2 months, and they ran it for a couple years. And then it stayed up on their website for 10 years after that. And that has finally come down, which kind of sucks. It kind of sucks, but at the same time, it's nice to see them grow. This is really cool. I gotta say, what Retroware TV has become is probably their best iteration that they've ever been, which is really awesome. We are 23 minutes in. I didn't really get any news from clicking around, did I? Let's check a couple things. Okay, Retro Dodo. That's probably my favorite news site right now. New PlayStation controllers revealed 26 years after console release. It's just a headline. Essentially, we've got PlayStation 2 and the original PlayStation controllers that look like Xbox One controllers. I mean, the sticks are swapped so that they're where they would be on an original, PlayStation controller, so don't feel too weird. But they just look like modern controllers that work with old systems. Super cool. AYN Odin Handheld is the next-gen budget handheld emulator. We're looking at a handheld device that looks a lot like... it's big. I think we've talked about this in the past. I didn't know it was called the AYN Odin. It's the $200 handheld that's very large. Looks a little bit like a Switch, but the controllers don't detach, and it's not like a Steam native thing. So this is the thing that I have my eye on right now to get over the Steam Deck. Because it's Android based for one thing, so I'll be able to run like my Google Play games that I've been collecting, and also the emulators is really what I'm interested in rather than playing my Steam games on the go. I got a lot of cool Steam games that I could play in multiplayer, and that would be fun, but I can't see paying a ton of money for that. And then finally we have Tag Heuer, I know I'm probably saying that wrong, collabs with Super Mario to reveal a $2,000 plus watch. First of all, Super Mario is not a company. That is a character. Second of all, this watch looks awful. It looks like a toy. Third of all, if you're spending $2,000 on a watch, I mean, if you got that kind of money, then God bless you. Live your life. You do you. But I don't know. I would get something like, first of all, it'd be analog. If I were to spend $2,000 on a watch, it'd be analog. It'd be really shiny, and it would be a choice for something that I could pass on to my kids. Because I know that's kind of like a Jewish tradition, where the oldest son gets his father's watch. Pretty sure that's a Jewish thing, but yeah, that's a thing I always wanted to do, was to have like a really awesome watch that I bequeathed to my oldest. And for $2,000, you know, it better be good enough to do that, and this certainly isn't. This is basically an LCD screen with Mario on it, standing on a pipe and a time with the time. And you know what? I kind of wish Nintendo stopped this sort of thing from happening. I really do. But whatever, you know, I don't know. I'm not even hating on the fact that the watch. I don't know anything about the watch or what it does. Could be an awesome watch. I just think it's like sickeningly superfluous. I don't know if that makes sense or not. Yeah, Retro Dodo is an awesome site. None of the other news that's out there is good right now. Activision is doing more damage control. Activision Blizzard, apparently, because Blizzard had a bunch of like internal company problems. People weren't being treated very well. Like, no, we're really sorry this time. No, I mean, we're really, really sorry, guys. Wow, we are 27 minutes in, and I have not yet thanked the sponsors. This is indeed a Patreon-sponsored program. These individuals are super generous to give of their resources. There's so many creators out there, and these folks have chosen me to support. So to them, I offer early access to the show. I push to get it out on Wednesday. Some last week it was Thursday, and then everyone else, you know, globally it comes out Monday. Also, every Monday Night Morrowind, we just hang out and play some Morrowind. It's not much, but I wanted there to be something special for the creators, or for the supporters. And finally, what is near and dearest to my heart is that we have a tradition on TCR where I read their names off in a hall of distinguished gentlemen, to be frozen in time in the backlogs of TCR. And they are Hemrock, Tecmo Balls, Durabka, and Eric Controller. I humbly thank you, gentlemen, so much, and I hope you're enjoying the party. With that, why don't we return to the Japanese chiptune compilation? And I really need to know what this thing's called, because right now I just know it as the Japanese chiptune comp. And we'll jam to some chiptunes, and we'll be back with more Final Fantasy. That's Delightful Journey. Get yourself a copy off of Bandcamp for free. It's good stuff. Okay, so what I learned this past month is that the original Final Fantasy really is too archaic for me to play. And I hate saying that. I hate saying it, I do. But I got as far as the second town. But that bit where you cross over the bridge, and the bridge is such a strong moment in the first, half hour of the game, and then trying to stay alive in that second continent to find the second town was such a slog. That was like the filter for me. And I was filtered hard. And it sucks because there's some really good things about the game. One thing I really like about Final Fantasy is the music. I remember it as being one of the great music games of the NES era. Apart from, they're one of the great music games. Again, I'm not saying it's the best. But the sound is really good. Sound effects notwithstanding. Could have done without that. But, I want to play it more than I can. So I think I might enjoy it if I played, a later version. But not even a later version, but I have to have a fast forward button to deal with the flow of combat. I have to. I can't. I really tried to hang in there because I've played archaic games before, I mean, come on, it's my thing. Play them on MS-DOS, play them on Apple II, whatever. The Pico 8, those games aren't archaic, but they certainly feel like it at times. But in this case, I couldn't hang in there. So, it was nice revisiting it, and I got probably about as far as I did the last time I tried to play it, which was more than 10 years ago. But that was it for me with Final Fantasy. And I feel bad about it because I know Hemrock played along, and he got much further than I did, which you'll hear about when we reach the fail bag this week. So, what did you guys think? Did anyone else, apart from good old Hemrock, revisit Final Fantasy and give it a try? I'm probably going to pick a shorter game this next month because I had such trouble getting that started. I need to play something that's like a pick up and play. Super Mario Bros. 2 Japan was a great choice. It really was. Because it kicked all our butts, and that was fine. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pause this recording, and I'm going to take a look, and we're going to pick the game for next month. I want it to be something that I can play on the go on one of my handhelds, preferably something pre-PlayStation era, because I want it to be extremely accessible. So give me one moment, and I'm going to make the final decision. I got it. I got the perfect game. It's going to be Super Punch-Out for the Super Nintendo. It's perfect. We were just talking about RetroWare TV and how I had some good times over on that site. Well, RetroWare TV, on their forums, they had a Super Punch-Out high score battle where you had to get through, I think it was the third cup, the third entire series of boxers, and then your final score based on that. That was what you posted, and a bunch of people participated, and that was a really good time. So let's get out Super Punch-Out, and I know it's tough. It can be a tough one to play based on how you choose to emulate, if you're emulating. So it definitely favors having an authentic cartridge, but you can play no matter what. When we did that contest, I have the real game, but I still played it on Z-SNES. Super Punch-Out. Dig it out. If you have a copy, let's play. Just give it a shot. Tell me what you think after all this time. I'm still looking to see what's going on over at Cartridge Club, because I like to cover what they're doing as well. But when I go to their website, it looks like their game of the month has yet to be updated. Let's take a look again. It's saying May was ActRaiser, June was Cuphead, and July was Mario Galaxy. And that's the upcoming games banner. So I went over to their Discord and asked, hey, what's up, bros? And I have not yet heard back. I'm sure it's posted somewhere that I have not yet seen. Maybe they have a Reddit or something. Let's see what's on Twitter. Yeah, July 2021 is still pinned over on Twitter. Super Mario Galaxy. Okay, Season 9 of the Cartridge Club is on the horizon, so it's time to announce our first game. If you know zero about this game, don't let another dawn pass you by. Join us as we play Horizon Zero Dawn in September. So maybe they're going to take August off. Horizon Zero Dawn in September. There you go. I don't think they're playing, as far as I know, I don't think they're playing anything in August, but we'll see. If they get back to me, then I'll give you guys an update. So for August, Super Punch-Out. Let's give it a shot. All right. Let's, should we do another chiptune? Let's do another chiptune, and then we'll go to the fail bag. You're listening to Tiger Claw Radio. So they released that compilation in two parts, and there was a light album and there was a dark album. And when you listen to the tunes, it's very much, one's the major key and one's the minor key. And I'd seen this done before, way back when Starship Amazing made their dual album release. They made two albums at the same time. One was Gear Hard Decreon, which was their dark side. One was Scoops the Robot, which was their light side. And at that time, I really liked Scoops better. I liked the brighter songs. That's very much the case with these chiptunes as well. Their light side album is very, very good. So yeah, I would definitely check those out. All right, boys and girls. It's a small show. It's just you. It's just me. It's we're not. That's the way these podcasts are. So let's take advantage of that. And if you got something to say, bring it. If you know me personally, feel free to write me an email. Just be clear about what I can and can't read on the air. Also, I have a Discord if you don't want to deal with YouTube. And then the most common way to get in touch with me is to just leave a comment on YouTube where you're listening to this. All right, ladies and gentlemen. First one comes from Hemrock. Just had the window open. Where did it go? Yay, here we go. Hey, CF. Thanks as usual for another episode. Also, big thank you for Monday Night Morrowind. I've been thinking about the Steam Deck. I know it's pricey as far as handhelds go. Sorry. However, for what you get, it's actually pretty reasonable. I was looking at the specs, and I noticed that the Steam Deck is more powerful than my daily driver/gaming PC, which is an Intel NUC i7 mini PC. I love my PC because of how small and practical it is. I was thinking that maybe the Steam Deck might be a nice replacement for it sometime in the future. Since the Steam Deck offers the advantage of a built-in screen and portability, I don't plan on pre-ordering the device, but let's say it's on my radar. Yeah, me too. That's about where I stand on it, and for that reason as well. I still like the idea of carrying something like a GBA, DS, or Powkitty for a more carefree grab and go. Plus, I have a large backlog of games on these systems. I should probably focus on what I have and not a bright, flashy toy. Actually, the console I was most excited for has all but vanished. It was the Powkitty X18S. This was supposed to be an upgrade to the Powkitty X18. I really liked the Nintendo DS form factor. The unit was set to launch sometime in March, but then it never happened. And Powkitty has removed all references to their website. Weird. Retro Dodo even did a nice write-up on the X18S. Let's see. Nice looking machine. Don't even know how to describe it. It almost looks like a small laptop, but instead of keyboard keys, there's like like controller buttons, which is weird. But we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, I guess that's gone. So they're going another route. Okay. How's your Final Fantasy game going along? I made it to the Cavern of Earth. I don't know, man. I think it was a mistake to try and play the original NES version. Do you have the same issue where the combat cycle just takes forever? Because I know you're not playing it on the NES. Back to the email. He says, you asked me what character I used. Oh, I'm sorry. In my last email, I was referring to Wolfenstein 3D for the Pico 8 that had a glitch. And yes, it's largely playable. Yeah, I played through that too. It's actually pretty good. I went all the way to the end of that first stage, and just to realize that there's no end button, and I was like, oh, okay. I guess that's it. So I spent probably like 10 minutes on it. You asked me what character I use in Darkstalkers. Well, I'm new to the game. Most recently I played as Pyron, who is a playable character in Darkstalkers Revenge. Although he's a boss in the original Darkstalkers, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, that's correct. My Sega Saturn pickups include the following: the aforementioned Darkstalkers Revenge Vampire Hunter, Lode Runner The Legend Returns, Lunar, Silver Star Story, King of Fighters 97, and Dragon Force. Wow. That is that's quite a group. Dragon Force is pretty good, I gotta say, as well. You got Lunar? How much you pay for Lunar? Give me a second here. Let's check the old rip everyone off site known as eBay. Lunar, Sega Saturn. There you can get the import for like $19. You know, if you speak Japanese. I don't even see I don't even see an English version available. That's cool, man. Way to go. Wow, I really don't see one. There isn't one. That's weird. Oh no, wait. I'm sorry. Is this the import? Yeah, it is. There's no English version. Bizarre. Yeah, I never played that one on the Saturn. NG had it and probably still does for the PlayStation. That was my experience with the Lunar story. I remember Fraps. Back to the email now. He says, I remember Fraps as well being the beloved unregistered Hypercam. As well as the beloved unregistered Hypercam. Yeah, those were hallmarks of the early YouTube era. Did you ever watch Luke Morse 1 on YouTube back in the day? Recently, I've been watching some of his old vids. Oh, yeah, man. Yes, indeedy. Luke here, back again with another video. I watched a lot of Luke Morse 1. I watched him. I can't remember who it was, but somebody shouted him out that I was watching back in like, I don't know, 2012. And I watched him like a lot around that time. And then once he had that big, like, messy public divorce, that's when I checked out. So I hope he's doing good. He's still around though, isn't he? Because I in the last year or so, maybe it's been a couple years, but I remember going back to his channel to find him still there, still doing his same old thing. Yeah, so I wonder what he's up to now. I'm still looking at the best of the 8-Bit Collective compilation. I think it's going to be a top 40. It's a pretty solid list going, but I'm still not through the entire archive. You know, it's funny you say that. I actually went and got that same archive and started listening to it myself. That's enormous. Was it like 19 gigabytes? Yeah, it's pretty sweet. So that's cool, man. I'm looking forward to hearing your collection. Then he asks, what's your favorite game to play on the Pow Kitty? What's your favorite game to play on the Ambernick? Take care, my friend. I'm rooting for you. Well, on the Pow Kitty, the last thing I did with it was I put a bunch of PlayStation games on it. And I've been trying to... I want to make a video showcasing what it can do in regards to the original PlayStation. Yeah, there it is. I'm firing it up now. So that has been what I've been doing with it lately. As far as what I actually play with it, usually just NES games. Like, I usually try things, but the game I actually sit down and put time into is Berserk for the NES. That's a good game. Give me a second here. I had a really good session of Dracula X on Super Nintendo on the Pow Kitty recently. Just to name another game, because I know I've talked about Berserk before. But what happened was, when I was testing PlayStation games, I was looking for games specifically that did not have any 3D to see if they worked. And I came across Symphony of the Night, and I tried it, and it ran. Dropped a lot of frames, and the audio was terabad, but it did play. And while I was playing it, I was like, this is not the way this game should be experienced. So I jumped off of that, and I switched over to Castlevania Dracula X on Super Nintendo. And that game plays a lot better. I swear the Super Nintendo games on the Pow Kitty still drop a frame or two. They're not unplayable, they play just fine, but you can tell the frame rate is not the same as you know, like official hardware or trying to play it on the computer or something. So that was a thing I experienced recently. As far as the Ambernick is concerned, PlayStation, man, it's all my PlayStation 1 stuff goes down on the Ambernick by and large. The last thing I did on it was trying to poke around in a Koei strategy game from Japan. What is my actual favorite thing to play on that machine, though? I don't know. I don't think I have a game that I'm settled into right now. I'm still bouncing around, which is mostly what I do with these machines, is just bounce around games. I kind of thought Final Fantasy would be perfect for that, you know, settle into playing through it, but it just, you know, I don't know. I couldn't do it. It had too many old quality of life issues. Here's one I recommend putting on your Pow Kitty. There is a ROM hack of the original Dragon Warrior, which is essentially a total conversion. They turned it into a sci-fi game that I rather enjoyed. It's been a little while since I played it, but getting started is a little bit more difficult, because in the original Dragon Warrior, they give you, like, I don't know, 500 gold points or something. They give you a certain amount of money right out of the gate, so you can go get yourself a starter weapon and whatnot. But in this, you have to bare knuckle it. You go out there and fight with nothing. And it takes a little while to get off the ground. But the way they took Dragon Warrior and like total converted it, I think looked really cool. And while I'm talking, I'm like trying to dig up the name of the game. Emulation, it's under NES Topia, ROMs, ROM hacking. No, that's when I was trying to make ROM hacks. New hacks folder. Yeah, here we go. It was Dragoon X Omega Gold Edition. That was a hack of the original Dragon Warrior. It's a good game. Weird game. But definitely one that I would say should be is worth putting on the old Pow Kitty. All right, where are we at now? Yeah, Hemrock, man, good to hear from you. Always a pleasure. Hope you're doing well. Let's head over to YouTube and see what the good folks are saying. I had it open, but it's no, I don't think I do. Yeah, here we go. Okay, now let's backstep for a little bit. Mecha Menace says, I used to listen to a bunch. Okay, that was from last week. Yeah, here we go. Desm, the Steam Deck seems like it's targeted at rich gamers on social media who like to stir up fanboys. They're attempting to call it a Switch killer, but I'm thinking it'll have a hard time selling a lot aside from those with a lot of cash to throw around. It could also be my age. As I get older, the less I can stand to play on handhelds for a decent amount of time without getting cramped. Yeah, you know, couldn't they have just, if this has a system that you can really install anything on, because this is what concerns me. I took a look, and stock it has it has Steam OS on it. So I'm thinking, I don't know. I guess that you'd have to get rid of that before you could really play anything, huh? Because a lot of the games on Steam, you know, are not Steam OS compatible. But that's neither here nor there. Couldn't they have just made it a console? Did it have to have its own screen? You could have knocked off $100 if you did that. I don't know, like, didn't they actually try to make an Alienware console or something, a Steam console, a couple years back, 5 years back, plus something like that? I went looking for that on Amazon to see if it still existed, and it doesn't. So, I don't know. I'm going back and forth. Des, I'm good to hear from you, brother. Swingle says, putting the Switch in bait and switch. The $400 model is a joke. Most modern AAA games are around 60 gigabytes. The bulk of users will need a $500 model. They shouldn't have even bothered with the $400 model since it's only useful for the indie crowd. And when I think of indie, I think of cheapskates that can afford $400 for a mobile Ryzen APU. The niche is so niche. You'll buy a laptop instead of this thing almost any day of the week. Yeah, interesting. We'll have to see. Good to hear from you, man. Mecha Menace says, sarcasm is often lost in comments. When I'm making a cynical remark about something in jest, I end with a smiley face or something like a har har or a yuck, goofy style, spelling out that it's a joke. However, I believe your last misread of my comment about the resale value is due to a bias you have against me as a contrarian to your opinion. Do you get it now? Does this abolish any bias? Think of me as friendly all the time. I don't think of you as unfriendly. Do I have a bias against you? I don't think so. I don't know, man. Thanks for joining the party, Mecha Menace. Hope you're doing well. I made a video showing off some of the import PS1 games I have. All cheap imports, but whatever. Cyber Brickmaster 1986 says, good for you if you like pachinko. As for me, if it isn't Peggle, it's not worth it. Yeah, I agree. I understand. I'm glad that no one else likes pachinko and it's just me, because it means I'm a kid in a candy store and they are the cheapest games around. It's really awesome. You know? Hey, you know what's awesome? Mega Man is awesome. The Mega Man games are expensive. Wouldn't it be awesome to, like, find a game that's like Mega Man that's so good that for whatever reason everyone else thinks it's just hot trash garbage, and consequently the games are just like pennies on the dollar? I don't think pachinko is that good, but that's kind of the mindset. So when people are like, I don't like it, man, then I'm like, that's cool. Yeah, I'm down with that. By the way, good to hear from you. This guy, Cyber Rickmaster 1986, this guy used to comment on my videos back like in the early days when I was still doing essays. Kaisercade says, so buying imports is a meme now? Kill me. Very nice collection. One import I recommend getting is Kid Clown in Crazy Chase 2. It's a bit of an uncommon and average game, but interesting to see nonetheless. I don't think buying imports is a meme. It's only a meme if it's me. It clashes with my... it's out of character for me, I guess is the best way to say it. Nothing wrong with buying imports. Imports are good. All right. Last but not least, let's jump over to Discord and see if there's anything going down there. Oh, hey, yeah, here you go. The Cartridge Club is playing Mirror's Edge in August. So if you want to play along with the Cartridge Club, reinstall that free copy of Mirror's Edge I know you guys got when they gave it away back on Origin, back when they used to give away Origin games. So that's cool. That's nice of them to play like a game that everybody has. Yeah. Let's see here. Let's jump over to the Tiger Claw Media one. Defense Grid: The Awakening is free over on the Epic Games. I got some people talking back and forth. Nothing in the fail bag though. Nothing indeed. All right. Well, that's the fail bag. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Tiger Claw Radio for this week. Remember, this coming month we're going to be playing Super Punch-Out, and if you want to play along with the Cartridge Club, they're playing Mirror's Edge. Yeah, so it's a good time. Thank you everyone for spending some time hanging out, talking some video games, listening to some chiptunes, just doing our thing. I appreciate you, and whatever it is you got to deal with this week, I hope it goes well for you. I really do. I'm rooting for you. I'll see you next week.